The calendar may finally say fall, but summer isn't going down without a fight. Big changes, though, lurking in the 7-day forecast just ahead.
Today, the Supreme Court overruled Governor Bevin's decision to cut funding from public colleges and universities across the state. Why those schools are now already planning what they're going to do with that money.
And Eastern Kentucky University giving the all clear after issuing a campus alert overnight.
WKYT News starts now with breaking news.
Good afternoon to you. Amber Philpott reporting. We are tracking breaking news happening right now in Lexington. Bryan Station High School and Middle School were evacuated because of a natural gas leak just before dismissal. According to the fire department, someone hit a natural gas pocket on Easton Road. The school spokesperson says high schoolers have been dismissed on buses, car riders are being dismissed from the stadium, and walkers are being dismissed as normal. Middle school students are being dismissed, but parents should expect a delay. The evacuation is causing some major traffic problems in that area. We will continue to update you with more information right here in our newscast and always on WKYT.com and the WKYT News app. Well, fall has officially arrived with summertime temperatures just hanging tough across the bluegrass. Take a look. Here is a live picture now of downtown Lexington, and it looks like we will continue to enjoy warmer than normal weather throughout our weekend. Let's check in now with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey. Happy fall to you.
Yeah, happy fall. How about that? And we are rolling into fall with anything but what we should be feeling or seeing this time of year. Temperatures that are still on the very toasty side of things. But you've got the blue sky that continues to roll on across central and eastern Kentucky. We are stuck on summer for the first several days of the brand new season. Many thermometers mid to upper 80s until you get to the ridiculous airport thermometers. It's 87 at the station in Lexington, by the way. It's 87 at the Kentucky Mesonet site as well. If you're out this evening, we go from 79 to 71 to 65 through 11 o'clock this evening. So overall, it is going to feel nice, even though it is a little warmer than normal. Defender Radar Network, nothing going on across central and eastern Kentucky. Front to our north is still there. Low pressure to our southeast still there. So that means the weather you've been having over the past few days is, well, still there. And it's going to hang tough as we go through the next couple of days. Fall starts out a lot like summer, more sizzle for the weekend forecast. But boy, oh boy, big changes lurking for next week. Fall arriving fashionably late into the 7-day forecast in 15 minutes.
Chris, we'll see you then. Thank you. Kentucky's Supreme Court says Governor Matt Bevin's cuts to the budgets of public colleges and universities are illegal. Attorney General Andy Beshear sued the governor over his decision. Caitlin Sentner has the details on the ruling and reaction. It's our top story at 4.
The University of Kentucky says its $5.6 million will be used towards student success, specifically retention rates and graduation rates. Today, Attorney General Andy Beshear said he's just doing his job after the Supreme Court said he's within his rights to question the governor and overturn the governor's decision to slash funding for public colleges and universities.
It's what I did, and it's what I'm going to continue to do.
Earlier this year, Governor Bevin ordered $18 million in appropriation be cut from schools across the Commonwealth. Today, Beshear said the decision being overturned is a win for the state and announced just how much money each school will be getting back.
Today, the Supreme Court enforced Kentucky law, reminding us that no one, not even the governor, is above the law. Based on today's ruling, I'm calling for the governor to immediately release the $18 million he wrongfully withheld from our public universities and colleges.
This afternoon, the governor's office issued a statement saying they're not happy with the decision. They say the state has a pressing pension problem that needs to be addressed. In Lexington, Caitlin Sentner, WKYT.
Although Andy Beshear ordered the governor release the money today, he has 20 days to do so. 3 people have been arrested after shots were fired near the EKU campus this morning. The university sent out a series of alerts telling students and staff to lock their doors and stay inside. That's because Richmond police say shots were fired during a fight on 2nd Street. Police caught up to a car involved on nearby South Madison Street and took at least 2 people into custody. A 3rd suspect was found in the back of a home in a wooded area. Richmond police say they were told that the shots were being fired at a group of Saudi Arabian students. We'll have more on exactly who was arrested ahead for you on WKYT News at 5. We are working on a number of other stories for you on WKYT starting at 4:30. Sam Dick joins us now from the newsroom with a look at some of the news in progress. Hi, Sam.
Good afternoon, Amber. 3 people pled guilty today in a Clark County murder case. Aaron Staley, Christopher Robinson, and Lamont Wilkerson are charged in the 2014 shooting death of Amber Cottle. She died just 2 days before Christmas after being hit by a stray bullet that was fired in the apartment above hers. A 4th person, Lillian Barnett, is also charged in the case. Her trial is set for January. We'll have more from the courtroom today ahead on WKYT News at 4:30. The owner of Boyd Orchard says it's business as usual today despite a huge fire overnight. Fall is a busy time of year for the Woodford County farm, and even though the fire destroyed 2 barns and the equipment inside, the owner says the damage will not impact customers or their apples and pumpkins.
We're just hoping folks don't panic that we're in trouble here, because my barns are in trouble, but not our market, not our playground. Everything fall festival wise is going on. We have all of our pumpkins, all of our apples are intact. There's just really, other than me losing the barns and a few pieces of equipment, there's really no issue with us in operation for our fall season.
Boyd says he thinks the fire was caused by an electrical issue. The farm is open today, although the playground is closed. We'll have more on the damage ahead on WKYT News at 5:30. That's a look at some of the news in progress. Amber, back to you.
Sam, thank you. Now to some stories making headlines across the nation at 4. A police shooting in Charlotte, North Carolina that's prompted 2 nights of violent protest was captured on camera, but the police chief says he doesn't expect to release that dashcam video to the public. Emily Schmidt has more on the investigation and a city under a state of emergency.
First of all, I'm not here to defend a position. I'm here to give you some information.
Charlotte's police chief says his department wants to find the absolute truth of what happened before Officer Brentley Vinson shot and killed Keith Lamont Scott outside his vehicle Tuesday. We've seen pictures of what happened next, and Chief Putney says dash cam video tells more of the story. While not providing definitive evidence Scott pointed a gun at officers, he says the video shows Scott refusing to drop his weapon. Police say the Scott family wants to see that video.
What we're going to do is honor a request that has been made with the family.
But he says the public doesn't need to see it, calling it inappropriate to show footage of a victim's worst day.
What are you protecting?
Scott's death has led to 2 violent nights in Charlotte. Protests blocked Interstate 277 and the light rail, hurt 9 civilians.
Jerry, get out of there!
Caused at least 5 law enforcement officers to need medical attention and prompted the governor to deploy the State National Guard to control the chaos.
And those who destroy property or hurt other people will be dealt with, and I want to make sure the chief can do his job with the necessary resources.
A Charlotte resident who took these pictures of a vandalized van says he's afraid things will get worse before they get better in the state's largest city. Waiting to see what another night holds. I'm Emily Schmidt reporting.
The Federal Reserve is leaving interest rates alone for now. That's ahead in WKYT Money Watch. And hundreds went crazy for In-N-Out burgers when a pop-up shop opened across the pond. The details coming up.
Keep up with the latest news on WKYT.com. Join the conversation on Twitter and become a part of the WKYT Facebook family.
Welcome back in. The Federal Reserve has decided to keep interest rates the same for now. That begins today's Money Watch. The central bank made the announcement yesterday after a 2-day meeting. The Federal Reserve indicated it will likely boost rates by the end of the year if economic activity continues to grow. It seems now is the time to start looking for a job if you need one. A new survey finds more than 25% of human resource managers will increase hiring in the 4th quarter. The data compiled by staffing firm Office Team also shows that nearly 70% of companies bring on staff at the end of the year to fill vacated positions. Chipotle has a new strategy to turn around sales, reassuring customers the food is indeed safe. Chipotle's CEO appears in a new video touting safety improvements like a system that tracks the food and ingredients as they make their way to the restaurants. Chipotle sales plunged after norovirus and E. coli outbreaks last year. Nike's self-lacing shoes will hit store shelves a few days after Thanksgiving. The Back to the Future 2 Hyper Adapt 1.0 sneakers have a button on the tongue that adjusts the laces. There's no word yet on the cost, but they're expected to have quite a high price tag for you. It was in and out of the United Kingdom in just a few hours for the popular Southern California-based In-N-Out burger. The restaurant opened a pop-up shop in London on short notice and ended up with huge lines. Terry Okita takes us there.
Brits are buzzing about a culinary cult classic from America.
Welcome our first customers.
In-N-Out's Juicy Double Doubles had Americans and Brits hankering for some Southern California comfort food. So much so, they queued up all morning. Gareth Potter waited 5 hours to be first in line.
Animal burger and the double double.
That's what we're talking about.
So many choices.
Yeah, and I'm only allowed one, which is a little frustrating.
In-N-Out has been serving up burgers for almost 70 years across the western U.S. It's become a fan favorite with celebrities. Harris Poll ranked it America's best burger joint this summer. Now, In-N-Out is using these pop-up shops to promote its brand globally.
What's the allure of In-N-Out?
It's a novelty and it's exciting, so the burger trend is just getting bigger and bigger.
In-N-Out rented a London steakhouse as a base for its 4-hour foray. The steakhouse owner says he'd never even heard of the American fast food chain.
I'm surprised. Yeah, especially if you're talking about burgers. I said, well, what is special? What is inside to make it like that special?
Just like its name, In-N-Out came and went when it last popped up in London in 2012. Company officials say they have no plans to stay this time around, but sales may give them some food for thought. The burgers sold out in just 1 hour. Terry Okita, CBS News, London.
It's pretty incredible. 1 hour In-N-Out Burger employs a special foreign events team that has launched pop-up shops in Australia and South Africa, as well as the UK.
She's the two-time world champion in the reining horse discipline. I'm Deanne Stevens out and about with Miss Lindsay Cruz today.
Rolling our way into the first full day of fall tomorrow. That's going to feel like the dead of summer. But if you are looking for some true fall stuff, I've actually found it. I'll show you when it arrives in Kentucky next.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey.
To fall, and fall at least the first few hours during its best impersonation of the middle of July here in the Bluegrass State. Upper 80s to around 90 showing up again today across most of the area. And the atmosphere is absolutely bone dry. Humidity, by the way, is at 29% right now in Lexington. That's how dry things are. So a little bit of a desert kind of a climate out there in the central and eastern Kentucky. Yeah, it seems to be the case. A lot of mid to upper 80s to around 90 across the entire Ohio Valley and even into the Tennessee Valley. We go to the mid-Atlantic states, and that same area of low pressure will not go away. It is spinning, and it's going to hang out for another day or two until it just gives up finally. And when that finally gives up, the pattern is going to change around here. Cold fronts have been hanging to our north, and because this pattern is stuck where it is, we've had a tremendous flood event into parts of Wisconsin, into Iowa and Minnesota. Not impacting our weather, but you know what? Our weather is impacting what's going on there, because where we're stuck in the dry and the hot weather, those poor folks are stuck in the rainy stuff, and that pattern will not move for a few more days. Friday forecast right around 90 into most of central and eastern Kentucky. Nothing going on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. Winds will pick up a little bit on Sunday. It's the best I've got for a 3-day threat track. Will be a little bit of a gusty wind on Sunday ahead of those slow changes that take us to fall early next week. Hour by hour forecast, we keep it rolling. Tomorrow morning, mid-60s. Tomorrow afternoon, mid-80s. Can we change it up a little bit on Saturday? Okay, maybe just a smidge, because watch what happens Saturday evening. It's got a weak front that is across the Ohio Valley, and it tries to spit out a sprinkle into northeastern Kentucky into Sunday morning. That's probably not going to happen, but look at Sunday afternoon. Still into the steamy 80s during that time. Fast forward into Monday, big changes now becoming more and more likely with an area of low pressure that is on top of the Great Lakes, cold front through the Ohio Valley, and that front is going to make a little headway in here, and that means showers and thunderstorms will increase as we go into our Tuesday or Monday and Tuesday. And by the time we hit Wednesday, here comes the cooler air across much of the eastern part of the country. It's a forecast that I think many of us can actually live with next week. Look at that, 90, 90, and then middle of next week, 69 and 68 for a high temperature with a little bit of rain at least thrown in there for good measure on Monday and Tuesday. Right now, let's check on live drive traffic. Here is Officer Don.
Overall traffic view this afternoon, the interstate still looks good on 75 and 64, so no problems there. Of course, the situation around Bryan Station High School causing a little bit of congestion for now, but working through that as we get into the afternoon. For now, we're okay inbound Newtown Pike and North Broadway. Drive times, less than 15 to Nicholasville, 12 to 13 minutes to Versailles. Now back to you in the studio.
Officer Don, thank you. As a young girl growing up in the horse capital of the world, Lindsay Cruz knew at a very young age she was meant to work with horses. Deanne Stevens is out and about today with a young lady whose hard work and determination have paid off. Hi, Deanne.
Hey, good afternoon, guys. We are here at the Kentucky Horse Park where Miss Lindsay Cruz is with us, her horse Minnie. And listen, this young lady right here, two-time world champion in the reining horse division. Is that the best way to say it?
Yeah, that's how you say it. Two-time world champion, ride reining horses. I compete all around the United States. Minnie is a newer addition to the family, and I'm also the 2014 Derby champion, and then this past year I was reserve champion in that too, which you would kind of account as the Kentucky Derby in my discipline.
Well, I was going to say, explain that a little bit, because when people hear Derby, they're like, what? She's a little taller than those jockeys out there. Explain what you mean when you say Derby.
For in our division, the horses are 4, 5, and 6-year-olds, so that's where I compete the most. And so my horse has been phenomenal in that age division, and so we were the Derby champions in the Derby. And but it is, as far as the size of the event and kind of the prestige of it, it would be the same as our Derby in the thoroughbred industry.
How old were you when you started riding horses?
I had a pony before I can even remember. I grew up, my dad trains thoroughbred race horses, and they had, my mom competes with me. They had a horse for me since I don't even know when.
Thoroughbreds are a little different than ponies, aren't they?
Yes, very much so, but for some reason I took to the quarter horses, and I've shown in the reining since I was 10. I'm 28 now, so 18 years.
Okay, so over 18 years, or maybe even I should say over the last couple of years, am I allowed to ask, like, what you and your horse win, how much money you're bringing in these days?
For the past, like I said, competing in the derbies, my horse and I won $130,000, and that's just in 3 years. So
are you kidding me?
He's been phenomenal. We raised him from a baby, and just to be able to accomplish that, it's been really awesome.
I am sure you are inspiring little ladies out there who love horses and want to ride and want to be the next world champion. You too can do it. When we come back, we're going to talk to Lindsay more about her discipline herself in riding and being out there each and every day practicing. She's even going to do a few tricks for she and Minnie doing the tricks today. But $130,000, that's phenomenal. And I say that, but there's a lot of money going back into what she's doing too. Right. So we'll talk more about that when we come back here at 4:50. I'm Deanne Stevens, out and about. She's jumping on the horse. You got to tune in for it. That's when we return. Back to you guys.
Thanks a lot, Deanne. Still ahead in Better Living, what could be some promising news for patients suffering from a debilitating disease. And another recall for Bluebell. We'll tell you which flavors to toss out. Tomorrow night's Mega Millions jackpot is $20 million, and Saturday night's Powerball jackpot is $50 million. It is time now for Better Living, health, education, and consumer news that impacts your life. Bluebell is again recalling 2 flavors of its ice cream over listeria concerns. The Texas-based ice cream maker is recalling some Bluebell chocolate chip cookie dough and Bluebell cookie 2-step. Bluebell says it found out that the chocolate chip cookie dough from an Iowa company was potentially contaminated. The ice cream was distributed in nearly a dozen states, including here in Kentucky. Promising news for people with MS and why transplant patients need to see a dermatologist. Transplant patients should have total body exams because they're at higher risk for skin cancer. That's according to research in JAMA Dermatology that looked at more than 400 organ recipients. Researchers say patients are at risk for new skin cancers because they're on drugs to suppress the immune system. And an experimental drug may prevent or reduce the progression of multiple sclerosis. A study in neurology shows that the drug lecanemab could kept mice from developing MS. All right, let's head over to Chris for another check of our weather on this first day of fall that is anything like fall for sure.
No, it's doing its best late July impersonation out there today, or August, minus the humidity though, so we at least have that in our favor. Around here we often kid in the summertime it's not the heat, it's the humidity. Well, it's not the humidity, it's the heat that is out there right now, and a beautiful sky showing up on that Jackson webcam out of southeastern Kentucky. Not too long from now, the Appalachian Mountains will be showing off with some bright colors, mid to upper 80s to right around 90 into much of central and eastern Kentucky. Get used to that for at least a few more days, and then you want to see a big change? We have got it in the 7-day forecast. Finally, a little fall showing up. We'll break that down straight ahead on WKYT News at 4:30, and it starts right now.